Okay, I'd like to call the November meeting of the Geneva City Council to order, and I'd like to start with a pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Counselor Whitfield,
Here.
Counselor Morocco,
Here.
Counselor Petropoulos,
Here.
Counselor Gilat,
Here.
Counselor Grimaldi,
Here.
Counselor Peeler,
Here.
Counselor Lavin,
Here.
Counselor Brennan,
Here.
Mayor Valentino.
Here. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I'd like to start by thanking everybody that put themselves forward in yesterday's election process. Being a rookie in the election process, it's no easy task to interview for it and then be selected as a candidate, a possible candidate, and then have to do the work on platforms and all the work you do with signs and knocking on doors and reaching out to the community. So I'd like to thank everybody who was involved in the election, and I'd also like to congratulate everybody who was elected. We look forward to your service to the community. Thank you very much. First, we have a public hearing for the sale of city-owned property at 595 South Exchange Street. So if anybody would like to talk on the 595 South Exchange Street, please come forward to the podium. Oh, I have a list. We'll take you first, then I'll go to my list.
I'm sorry, did I step out of line?
It's Christine. You're all right, Christine.
Hello, my name is Christine Hoffman, and I live at 25 North Brook Street in Geneva. I'm speaking as an individual. I'm not here speaking on behalf of any group or organization. I'm here in support of the sale of the property at 595 Exchange Street, which is owned by the city. I was fortunate to attend the public information session regarding sale of this property at 595 Exchange Street for the purpose of development of a 64-unit, as far as I know, housing complex. The information session that I attended was held by City Manager Amy Hendricks, and I was fortunate and able to view all the site plans and get my questions answered. As we know from our experience as city residents, and as we know from the Ontario County Housing Study, Geneva is in desperate need of additional housing, especially affordable housing. This proposed building project at 595 South Exchange Street addresses the need for affordable housing for working people. It's a wonderful opportunity to fill a desperate need for one type of housing in Geneva. Approval of the sale of land for this project does not diminish or impede the pursuit of other types of housing in Geneva, which City Council should seek in the future. This is also an opportunity to finally occupy the vacant parcel known as the OEO property with positive development that matches Geneva's streetscape. I urge you, City Council, to do everything in your power to support this proposed housing project, and I urge City Council to approve the sale of 595 Exchange Street tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll go back to the top of my list, which was Charles King. Charles.
Hello, everyone. I'm Charles King. I live in Ward 2. I also enjoyed attending the October 22nd information session on this project. Looking at the architectural drawings that depict daytime colors, the four contrasting colors on the front of the building are in extreme contrast: red to orange to gray to yellow. I realize these are just mock-ups, but I would caution the city against anything that goes too far into a circus tent paneling aesthetic. 41 Lakefront, the former Ramada, has gone too far in that not very subtle direction and shouldn't be the model for any nearby building. It would probably be easy to go with standard brick colors like red brick, pink brick, brown brick, and black or tan without venturing too far into the gray, orange, or yellow. If not actual brick, the siding should be actual brick colors. Because the back of the building is going to face 5 and 20, it is important not to skimp on appearances from the rear. I didn't like the fact that the drawings showed 4 alternating colors in front and only 3 alternating colors in the back. The sides should match. I want to note for the record that all the elevations we looked at on October 22nd were no more than 3 stories tall. This is a very large building over a football field in length, a whole city block. I'll echo the sentiments of the public comments made before a small fragment of the planning board in 2023 during the hearing to merge these 3 lots into one, which were generally in 3 groups. 1, please don't make this a gigantic monolithic building that makes downtown feel claustrophobic. 2, please preserve the historical aesthetics of Geneva. And 3, please share with the public a 20 or 30-year cash flow projection that shows how the city will actually benefit from this project. I think Geneva would like this project only if it's a fair deal. There aren't that many households in Geneva. Every time someone says $1 million, that's $200 per household. We hear numbers like $30 million and terms like public-private partnership thrown around without context or math. Who's providing the money? Will there be bonds and debt costs? Will there be a pilot? Payments in lieu of taxes? How many decades will the pilot tax breaks last? Will it be on the scale of the micro-enterprise grants that our own downtown businesses have access to, which are maximum $6,000 per full-time employee per year, but usually much lower? Or will this be another exorbitantly high tax break for an out-of-town developer? Yes, we want this to be not zero but something, as the city manager rightly says. But some of the massive central planning projects we've signed on for seem to have become not zero but in the red for decades, for the benefit of only out-of-town developers. I think as a community we're willing to make some modest sacrifices, but if we're investing millions of dollars servicing massive debt for decades and getting no taxes for 20 or 30 years, while needing to upgrade our government infrastructure to grow the population by 1.5% without meaningfully growing the tax base by 1.5%, the taxpayers pony up the difference, millions of dollars for one housing project. Please provide the public with full cash flow projections based on full financial picture, including terms of partnership, grants, pilots, and debts. It sounds like this will be apartments, not condos, but the line between those two things is gray, and council should make sure that this project is not double dipping into local tax breaks with the condo tax loophole. At American Legion, they assured the planning board over Zoom during pandemic that their 52 townhouses would not be condominiums for tax purposes, and then turned around and made them all condominiums. Massive tax breaks for $500,000 homes, not really getting much onto the tax rolls. One of the reasons I record planning board meetings and ZBA meetings that I attend now is because the press no longer attend, and I've grown tired of hearing lies during board meetings that no one has the will or the power to confirm or follow up on. If you are listening to me and you're new and coming into council, please take my advice and start filming and putting every one of the ZBA, PB, IDA, and LDC meetings on YouTube if they are not already there. These are multi-million-dollar decisions that have been made in smoke-filled rooms for years. This is the opposite of transparent government and highlights how dysfunctional council has made the process. For the planning board's OEO subdivision meetings in the first half of 2023 that discussed and merged the 3 OEO lots into one, 100% of those meetings were convened without a legal quorum, which feels like the city of Geneva's government in a nutshell. Can Geneva get a fair deal at 595 South Exchange? I hope so. But by having inactive, secretive, uneducated rubber stamp steps in the process, we telegraph to our business partners that we are the world's weakest negotiators. They in turn make Geneva their lowest priority when it comes to actual building. Council should set up a fully transparent system whereby projects like this move through the system with informed, trained, attended boards who enforce simple rules to stay transparent and follow the documents that the city has adopted as its codes for building, planning, and fair dealing. This includes the comprehensive plan, which is still brand new in its box on the shelf, and Tenet 15 of the Code of Ethics, which might need to be taken out of the trash when the new year rolls around if city hopes to attract thoughtful volunteers to serve on boards. To end on a positive note, Fred Brockway was the loveliest of human beings, and everyone who did the 24-hour theater projects at the Smith was super fortunate to get a chance to interact with him. His memory will be a blessing. Thank you.
Here, here. Next, I have Joshua Frost. I'm not sure if I said that right, Joshua, so please correct me.
Hello, I'm Joshua Fraz. I'm a resident at 79 Brook Street in Geneva. I'm here not either for or against the project, but to talk a little bit more about the program that's being used to finance the project, because I think that's very important for the board to consider. In a couple months ago, I was here talking in support of the Lakeview project. I was the only person in support of that project, and I was pretty much brutalized up here at this podium. It was very tense, and I'm very concerned that the same thing is going to happen to this project, and that we're going to end up down the line wasting a bunch of time and end up in the same position. And I think that's very important for the board to consider. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the program. So the Affordable Housing Tax Credit Program, formerly known as the Low Income Housing Tax Credit Program, is what's being used to finance this project. It is the exact same financing structure as Lakeview presented. The people that will live in this building are the exact same people that would be living in the Lakeview building. And that was a major point of contention for residents, and really why that project was killed, because of the negativity towards people that need affordable housing. And I'm very concerned that we're going to end in the same position unless the city, throughout its elected officials and all its boards, take a really strong stand to help educate people in a way of how this benefits the community. But something that I would like to talk about in terms of New York State HCR, for people who don't know what that is, that's New York State Homes and Community Renewal. They provide low-income housing tax credits in New York State. They're the allocating agency. They have two priorities of their projects. One is creating family units in high-performing school districts. Geneva is not a high-performing school district, and also this project is not creating family units. It's creating a majority one-bedrooms, so that priority is not fulfilled here. Another priority is supportive housing. Lakeview was providing supportive housing in their project, and that is the state's main priority at this point in time. And I fear that this project, as it's presented at the current day, does not include any supportive housing, and therefore the state is going to come and tell the developer and tell the city of Geneva that you must put supportive housing in the project or we won't fund it. And if we get to that position, the project will be exactly the same as the Lakeview project, and all the residents that came out to pretty much destroy Lakeview are going to come out again. And I just really don't want that to happen, but that is a very realistic outcome that could happen for this project, and I think that's important for the board to consider as well. The residents criticized Lakeview for being out-of-town developers, even though that was not true. Lakeview is in Geneva. This developer, however, is out of state. So way farther than out of town, but more out of state. So there is just another angle where opposition can come in. So I'm just trying to cover our bases here. Was that 5 minutes? Or am I good? Okay, keep going. Keep going? Okay. Sounds good. The design of the building's great. Definitely supportive of the design. I think it's a great use of the property. I understand the historic features, but another concern is that HCR is going to kill a lot of those due to cost. Building properties of all brick are extremely cost prohibitive, and that was another criticism of Lakeview's project, that it was way too expensive to build and that taxpayer money would be better used in another way. And that is the same kind of thing that I foresee happening here. So just listing down, I don't want to be negative. I'm positive on housing for sure. Just trying to cover our bases on where I see the negativity coming from. Another thing, parking. Parking was an issue brought up at every meeting, and this project as well does not meet a 1 parking space per unit. It only has about half of the units would have parking, so that is a concern that a lot of residents I foresee having as well. The city of Geneva does have ample parking, whether people believe it or not, and buildings make places viable, not parking spaces. But that can happen in the future. The pilot angle, the project will be applying for a pilot, as I was told at the informational meeting a couple weeks ago. So the city will not be receiving full assessed value for this project. That can be a consideration. However, New York State has a special assessment program called a 581A, where these low-income housing tax credit projects are, as of right, given lower assessments based on their income collected. So if a pilot is an issue for a city and they won't issue one, the projects will end up receiving tax abatements as of right. There's not really a lot of leeway for individual assessors to do anything on that one. So if anyone wants more information, I can talk about that too. So just to sum up, I'm just concerned that we're going to go through with this grand idea, and then after about 5 years, or maybe not even 5 years, we'll be in the same place that we are today, with a vacant piece of land that has nothing on it, due to this proposal here. I really hope that that's not the case, because it will be transformative for the area. But I think it's important for the board to consider all possible angles here of where opposition can come from. So thank you.
Okay, next I have Trey Barber from Pivotal.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me out here tonight. Many of you I've met before. We are the developer of the OEO site. So I appreciate you allowing me to be here today to talk about what it is that we're doing. Many of you are familiar with this. We responded to an RFQ that the city put out in the fall of 2024. We were selected by the city through city council action back in, I think, February or March of 2025. And since that time, there's been a subcommittee of some council folks and city staff that have been working with us. Every 2 weeks we get together and talk about this project, and since about April is when we started those meetings. And so we've discussed a lot of these things throughout the process. And we've tried to be responsive to the city's suggestions and the city's requirements as to what we're looking for here. Obviously, any real estate development has a sense of risk with it. We as a developer, just some quick background of us in terms of, for those that may not be aware, we are a national company. We are in 17 states. We've done about 11,000 units of housing in about almost 200 communities across those. We are a developer, owner, and operator. So we're not a developer flipper. Once we build this development, we will be managing this development. So you'll be working with Pivotal along the way, and we're looking forward to being long-term part of your community. As was mentioned by some previous speakers, it is a 64-unit development, 3 floors along Exchange Street and 4 floors towards the lake, with some integrated parking there to try to accommodate as much parking as we can on the site that we have. The development itself is very long. It's over 300 feet of development along Exchange Street. So if some of you have seen the plans, I know Amy's got some boards, and I'd encourage any of you to take a look that haven't. Our goal is to try to knit this Exchange Street back together and fill in the missing tooth there that is the former OEO site. We are, this is the, maybe second or third step, I guess, of the process that you could say. We have had some community meetings throughout the process, along with the staff and council meetings that we've had to date. We met with the bid, we've met with the public. We will be having a planning board meeting here coming up as well, and I appreciate you allowing me to be here tonight. Our next steps will be, as some have mentioned, we will be looking to apply for these tax credits in the spring through New York HCR, and we're hopeful with the support that we've gathered so far here at the city level and through the community that we will be successful in obtaining these credits and being able to move forward with this. But the approved sale here is just one more step in the process that we need to be able to make this thing a reality. So I appreciate you all being here tonight and allowing me to come and speak quickly about the project. I'm happy to answer any additional questions you may have, but other than that, I will take a step back. Thank you all.
Thank you. Any further comments on the public hearing on the 595 South Exchange Street? If not, I'll call that public hearing closed. And now we'll open a public hearing for the support of Liquid Orchard CDBG grant application. If anybody would like to speak on the public hearing for Liquid Orchard, please come forward to the podium. If not, we'll call that public hearing closed. Next, I have proclamation. Two proclamations, actually. First one, whereas the City of Geneva recently lost a valued community member and friend on August 12, 2025 with the death of Frederick J. Brockway, who gave his entire life helping individuals and organizations throughout our area, and especially in the City of Geneva. And whereas Fred moved to Geneva in 2007, became an active participant in Geneva 2020 initiative, and continued on with the Geneva 2030 initiative. He also served on various committees designed to enhance the quality of all Geneva students' educations. And whereas in his retirement, Fred generously gave of his free time to volunteer for many organizations, including helping to facilitate the Smith Opera House transition to hosting more challenging productions. With his interest in the well-being of Geneva, Fred joined the First and Second Community Compact. He also established free community gardens on Crystal Street and distributed the produce to anyone in need. And whereas, as a resident of downtown Geneva, Fred worked collaboratively to create his last big labor of love, Butterfly Gardens. He worked to turn the space at the foot of Castle Street into a colorful garden with flowers and shrubs, providing an ideal habitat for pollinators and creating an inviting atmosphere in downtown Geneva, living by his motto, make things better than you found them. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Steve Valentino, in the capacity of my mayor of the City of Geneva, New York, and on behalf of our entire City Council, do hereby issue this proclamation in memory of Fred J. Brockway to celebrate his legacy and extend our sincere appreciation for his many contributions to the City of Geneva. Next one is a proclamation for Extra Mile Day. Whereas the City of Geneva, New York is a community which acknowledges that a special vibrancy exists within the entire community when its individual citizens collectively go the extra mile in personal effort, volunteerism, and service. Whereas the City of Geneva, New York is a community which encourages its citizens to maximize their personal contribution to the community by giving of themselves wholeheartedly and with a total effort, commitment, and conviction to their individual ambitions, family, friends, and community. And whereas the City of Geneva, New York is a community which chooses to shine a light on the and celebrate individuals and organizations within its community who go the extra mile in order to make the difference and lift up fellow members of their community. And whereas the City of Geneva, New York acknowledges the mission of Extra Mile America to create 550 extra mile cities in America and is proud to support Extra Mile Day on November 1st, 2025. Now therefore, I, Steve Valentino, Mayor of the City of Geneva, New York, do hereby proclaim November 1st, 2025 to be Extra Mile Day. I urge each individual in the community to take time on this day to not only go the extra mile in his or her own life, but also acknowledge all those who are inspirational in their efforts, commitment to make the organization, families, community, country, and world a better place. Thank you. Next is a presentation for grant overview by our Assistant City Manager, Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. Council members, you all should have a memo that's got a bit more detailed information than I'll speak about today on a breakdown of some of our 2025 grants activity, as well as an overview of the process of what it generally takes to apply for a grant, really primarily focused on state and federal dollars. But quickly, I really want to make sure that we get the snapshot of the city's grant activity to date this year and actually take a deeper look at what it takes, both in staff time and financial resources, to secure and manage these funds. This connects directly to our conversations during the 2026 budget process about the need for dedicated grant capacity, an area where we continue to see both incredible opportunity as well as real strain on existing staff resources. So why do grants matter? External funding is absolutely essential to our ability to move forward on major projects without relying on local tax revenue. Every playground renovation, infrastructure improvement, or planning initiative we fund through a grant is a direct savings to our taxpayers. But those dollars don't come easily. They require significant coordination, documentation, and ongoing compliance. The grants process is long and detailed. It's not just submit an application and wait. It involves research and pre-planning, aligning those funding opportunities with our council goals, with our comprehensive plan, with our economic development strategy, with our zoning laws. Application development requires pulling together budgets, designing things, data, engineering, supporting materials. And then award management requires handling contracts, reimbursements, and quarterly reporting, sometimes over the course of several years. If you look at industry benchmarks across the country, it shows that a single state or federal grant can take 40 to 100 hours just to prepare and another 100 to 250 hours to manage over its life cycle. With over $44 million in applications this year put forward by the City of Geneva, that translates to thousands of staff hours citywide. In addition, most grants require a local match, our contribution towards the project's total cost. In 2025, our awarded grants represent about a $4.6 million local match commitment, typically from general funds or capital reserves. In certain grant situations, we may be able to identify those matched resources from local partners, local businesses, other grassroots organizations. But for the work that primarily goes into the city, it's the city that's funding those matched dollars through in-kind as well, staff time, those things can count. Even when we are awarded these grants, most programs do put a cap on administrative costs, somewhere between 5 to 10%. And so that means the majority of the work, grant writing, reporting, procurement, financial compliance, is really absorbed by the staff. As we pursue these larger and more complex grants, these two factors, time and limited reimbursement and match, become real constraints on our capacity. During the budget prep time, we discussed the strong return on investment that other cities have seen by adding dedicated grant capacity. According to ICMA, every $1 invested in professional grant management returns $12 to $20 in successful awards. The GFOA reinforces that dedicated capacity not only increases funding, but improves compliance and obviously reduces risks. And when we benchmark against similar upstate communities, those with the grant writer dedicated to their team have grown their award volume by 25 to 40% every year, even without applying for more grants. So far this year, Geneva has submitted $44.46 million in grant applications. I will put a caveat that a couple of those are due at the end of this month, so they're not quite in, but we are prepared to submit them. With about $2 million already awarded, and that $33 million still pending, waiting to hear back from federal and state funders. I do want to note that $2 million awarded may sound a little bit lower than what you have previously heard, and that is due to a $1 million grant through for the ATAD system through the county infrastructure. With the changes and the projected housing projects that the city has seen, we are having to re-enter negotiations with the county and the state on how we can make sure that we keep that funding for our future developments. But these other investments, this $44.46 million, include projects in areas like recreation improvements, housing rehabilitation, public safety equipment, downtown revitalization, and infrastructure upgrades, all priorities that tie directly to council goals. It's been a citywide effort, public works, rec, planning, public safety, all really working together to make sure that we align these funding opportunities with where we want to take the city as a whole. So I think that this grant activity really reflects tremendous effort and coordination, but we continue to challenge staff capacity. Adding dedicated grant writing, whether through a staff person, contractual arrangement, whatever we determine, would not only relieve that burden, but also position us to capture more funding and ensure compliance as our portfolio grows. We'll continue to update council as we hear back from funders on the success of our grant applications this year and as we look to pursue applications into 2026. I just want to shout out to our staff for the incredible work that they've done in chasing every dollar we possibly can for the City of Geneva. A small investment in our capacity to do that now will ensure that we can maintain that momentum and continue turning those grant opportunities into community impact. And that's all, unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Taylor, and I echo that thank you to staff for all their activities and efforts in setting $44 million plus in grants. We've had a great history in landing a lot of grants in the city of Geneva, and it's very benefited the city. No questions? We'll move on to discussion. Next on the agenda is a discussion for e-bikes, and it's going to be initiated by Councilor Petropoulos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can you guys hear me good? So we brought up e-bikes a couple of times in the past. A lot of constituents and people from all over the city have been commenting on e-bike etiquette, lack of a better word, safety, etc. What I did was I pursued what the state law is. I got that back from Assemblyman Gallahan's office. What I thought I wanted to do is require registration for e-bikes, like a dog license, not like a DMV, but state law doesn't allow that. However, what we can do, if we so choose, is create local laws which tighten the screws, if you will. Bottom line is I already discussed this informally with the chief, and chief, I'm going to give it to you in a minute. Bottom line is we can enhance penalties, etc. What the chief said, people have been playing ball. They're doing hand signals. They're not, of course, there's always folks that aren't going to play by the rules, and really it's those folks that we got to watch out for. Most e-bikes that I've seen are, oddly enough, they're not doing anything unsafe. So with that, chief, why don't you fill us in?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we have talked previously a few times in various council meetings, and also just kind of through emails back and forth between the police department and council. I think largely you look at the issues with the e-bikes. Again, I'll reiterate what I've said in the past. This is not a Geneva problem. This is just something that's happening nationwide. E-bikes present a cheaper mode of transportation for people that may not be able to afford a motor vehicle or insurance, things like that. However, they also present a different level of danger. They're quiet. Some of them are pretty fast. And when driven not safely, as it's regulated in the vehicle and traffic law, it does present issues. To date, we haven't had any pedestrians struck in the city of Geneva by an e-bike. We have had a number of accidents. I've implemented more or less a zero tolerance policy with that. If the e-bike was operating unlawfully, they're going to be issued citations accordingly. But I think what we need to decide as a city and as a council of what areas do we want to fix? What do we want to be more restrictive on? The law has made it very clear with e-bikes. They are not permitted on the roadway if you're under 16 years old. If you're 16 to 17, it's recommended that you have a helmet. You can't operate on the sidewalk. You have to be on the right side of the roadway. You have to stop at stop signs, traffic signals. You have to have working lights. All of this stuff is in the law. So, again, these are things that my staff, they're encouraged to stop when they see it. We've had been issuing more and more tickets for not necessarily just e-bikes, but pedal bicycles as well on the sidewalks. That's in the municipal law. So it's something we're trying to tackle. I just don't know. It's not going to go away, really.
With that, I'd like to, make some suggestions and encourage discussion. Certain things we can do, and I have to commend the chief. He put out educational literature on how e-bike safeties. Apparently distributed at least 1,000 of them. Suggestion, obviously, is, helmets. All of that's in the law. It's treated like we treat bicycles, because they're effectively bicycles that go a little faster than bicycles normally do. So I'm thinking, for increasing non-compliance, things like fines, up to and including basically, no, you can't have your e-bike. Now, having said that, those who use it to get to work and things like that generally are safe. It's, the ones that just, think it's a quick thrill. We don't want anything to happen. I'd rather err on the side of caution and consider what we could do to tighten up things. Did you have something you wanted to?
I had a
Go ahead.
question for you in your exploration with the state on licensing these gadgets.
we can't.
Oh, no, I know, that's what you said. Were you given a reason why? They go faster than mopeds.
Well, because, okay, right now,
Moped's pretty, you got to license a moped.
because current state law states you can't. Now, there are apparently bills working their way through the Assembly and the State Senate, which may further define things. But as of right now, we don't have the authority to ask for registration of any kind. Now, you know, the reason I wanted that, you know how old the person is, unless they're lying. You know, that they're safe, that they're this, maybe, you know, an education course. That could be a way to do it. Like, you know, you have bike safety, maybe we can get together some sort of, you know, formalized e-bike training. I don't know. That's something we can consider.
I think that'd be, I mean, bike safety is a problem either way. I mean, a lot of people don't understand that when you're on your bike, you're actually supposed to stop at the stoplight.
Yeah.
And I've witnessed a person running a stoplight on a 10-speed and getting clobbered by a car right in front of Parker's. And they both argued. The car was like, why did you not stop? And the bicyclist was like, why didn't you yield for me? And there's a perception that you're a cyclist, that you're a pedestrian. That's just farthest from the truth.
So that's one thing we could certainly consider. And again, it wouldn't be a major thing. We could probably get volunteers involved. I'd be happy to be part of that. I just remember when I was young in New York City, we had bicycle safety training, and you kind of need it back there because you got a lot more traffic. I'd like to solicit commentary from the rest of council, if anyone has anything.
Chief, it seems like you're doing everything you can.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad Councilor Petropoulos brought that up. I feel largely people just don't understand that they're violating state law when they're on a scooter on the sidewalk and things of that nature. I think it just kind of slips over their head, really. And I don't think they understand that you can be stopped lawfully, detained by a police officer, because that is a violation of state law or local ordinance. We have been trying to educate the public as much as we can through our social media, the city's social media. I did contact the DMV and got educational pamphlets and little cards you can put on a wallet, a box probably more than 1,000. Drop those off at the public safety building, City Hall. We gave them to our school resource officers to hand out to the kids in schools to try to educate them. So we're trying to do as much education as we can. It's just difficult because not everybody either gets it or follows it, and we're doing what we can, though.
Well, I think it's important because I received a couple of emails this week about concerns in my ward, almost getting run over, almost hitting somebody, those like Bill's talking about. I just think just keep the education going because really your hands are tied as far as, because I looked it up as well as far as New York State. They don't really give you much options as far as enforcing anything unless we do local laws for it. But then
there's a lot of sections for enforcing. I mean, there are uniform traffic tickets. So the same ticket or citation that we would give a motorist driving a vehicle, we can issue the same type of ticket for riding it on the sidewalk or not stopping at a stoplight or stop sign, things of that nature, equipment violations. So that's all there. It is in the vehicle and traffic law. We can ticket it. And then we also have the various bicycle violations that are already written in the city code. To go back to Councilor Peeler's question, I have not fully researched the licensing of e-bikes or anything like that, but I think largely as far as registering them, it's because they're not recognized as a vehicle. They are bicycles with electric assist as defined by 114E of the Vehicle and Traffic Law, whereas a moped is a limited use vehicle that is subject to certain type of registrations and licensing for.
Councilor Peeler.
Just one more question for the chief. What about impairment? If someone is intoxicated or high and they're on one of these things, is that a ticket?
They do have it, I believe, off the top of my head, I believe it's still an unclassified misdemeanor, which is the same as a DWI, but it carries different sanctions. So you still get a ticket, it's just a different section of the impairment.
I mean, okay.
But yes, and we have had one of those where somebody in Geneva had struck. I think we had the first one in the county. Somebody struck a parked motor vehicle impaired on an electric assisted bicycle, and they were arrested.
I do know firsthand, not for I guess secondhand, that you can be ticketed for being drunk while biking.
Not on a bicycle.
Not on a bike. There's no impaired operation.
No.
So maybe the guy I know just got scared by the cops. I mean, he was 18.
Was it in New York?
It was, yeah, it was back in high school, but anyway. It was,
Times have
it
changed.
it brought his family great shame.
So this isn't just an
Wasn't me.
e-bike thing. It's, you know, there's scooters, there's all kinds of these electric devices out there.
Yeah, and the scooters are very restrictive too. You know, the vehicle and traffic law specifically defines what a scooter is. It has a floorboard, has handlebars, or a seat. The big difference with the scooters, it is unlawful for them to be on any public highway in excess of 15 miles per hour. And then they carry the same restrictions. They cannot be on a sidewalk.
Chief, is there an age limit?
Yeah, so you have to be 16 or up to ride them on a public highway. So hypothetically, you know, if you're an adult and you're with a child that is on an e-bike or an e-scooter, you would be subject to a citation, possibly. We cannot issue it to the juvenile. If the juvenile is by themselves going to school, we cannot go and issue a ticket to them or the parent. The parent or the guardian, the adult, has to be present with that person at that time.
And I just think that's helpful because there's a lot of parents out there that might think, Jesus is cool, I'm going to get it for my kid, it's good transportation, but they don't realize that there is an age limit below 16, they're not supposed to have them. So.
Correct. And then the other big thing is, too, they cannot, e-scooters or electric bikes, they're not permitted to be on any public highway in New York State with a speed limit over 30 miles per hour. So the people that you see commuting to work on Hamilton Street, they're not supposed to be on there. That is unlawful. They cannot be on the side of the road.
But by local ordinance, none of them are supposed to be on a sidewalk, right?
Correct. And by state law, yes.
And by state law.
Yes, sir.
And what about bicycles, or if you will, or two-wheel vehicles that are not electric assist? They are motorized, gasoline-powered. I see them. They're out there.
Yep.
They are regulated in the same way?
They're a little bit different. They're a different type of vehicle. They carry more restrictions. We have stopped those. We have impounded those recently.
Okay.
So that's something. Those are easier for us to determine because of the noise that they permit. Yeah, we can be more strict with those because of the combustion motor, things like that.
I imagine enforcing any of these vehicles is pretty difficult, isn't it? I mean, you're in a car, they're on a two-wheeler, they're gone before you even get out of the car.
It does present unique challenges. That's one of them. Sometimes it can be confrontational as well because you got a police car with lights stopping somebody on a bike and they don't. It's not always understood of you know, it's a lawful traffic stop really at that point.
What can a city do? What can a local municipality do to make your life easier, if you will, and make the municipality safer, realistically?
Can I say staffing?
Staffing.
Yeah, right.
No, you can't.
No, I mean.
But if I can get you some electric electric bicycles, you can get farther faster.
I really don't know if I have an answer to that. I mean, you know, obviously, if the city wanted to put in bike lanes and give them a safe place to go, again, I agree with you with that.
All right.
You know, the city could restrict them altogether. You know, on one hand, who's going to do all the enforcement of that? I think you're going to have some upset people because they do use it as a mode of transportation. I think e-bikes have a place in the community if they are following the rules that are already established by New York State and they're driving them safely.
I want to jump in with something quick. Something else we might be able to do is, as part of the education program, issue a certificate of some sort. You've been through the training, you're good to go. Somebody who hasn't been to the training, this makes it easy. Go to the training, or, you know, if they're under 16, you'll know that. But again, this could be for anybody, all ages. If you're just getting into e-bikes, you know, as far as when they would be, I'm wondering if we shouldn't have it during the winter when few people are out on their e-bikes, or if it should be during, you know, the warmer months when people are out. But that could be an idea. So I'm going to pass that by the state and see if we cannot issue, you know, like boating safety, things like that. You can't really, hunting, there you go. You got to get a little hunting thing to hunt legally. And that means you got to sit through 2 days of, you know, gun, crossbow, whatever, safety training before it'll let you go out and do it. So that's a possibility too. Again, this is just the initial discussion. I don't want to take all night, but I think we're on to something.
Okay, we're all set with that one. Moving on to the next one, Chief. I don't want to wear you out, but East Washington Street parking.
Yeah, so we have been obviously having some issues with a local business owner and a resident, and it all seems to revolve around the parking issues over on East Washington Street in the areas of Monaco's. This was a topic that the previous administration at the police department worked on in 2022, where it was discussed to possibly turn that into a parking lot with reserved parking spaces. This area that I'm talking about is city-owned. And the hopes was that this would help combat some of these issues that they've been having. It's my understanding that as that was going through, there was a public comment. Somebody in that block opposed this, and the project went away. We began looking at that, myself and the DPW director, Joe Venuti. We feel that the best thing that the city can do, if we want to try to help calm the waters in this area between the disputing parties, is to turn that into a parking lot. This would most likely have a 2-hour time limit there. It would follow the already established alternate parking rules for winter parking enforcement. Those signages are already up there, and it would have minimal impacts financially. DPW Venuti could not be here today, but he estimates it'll be about $2,500 because now the city would take over responsibility for salting, for plowing, and then the police department would take over the enforcement side of this. So Joe and I both agreed that this is something we should probably just have a preliminary conversation with council first and decide which route we would like to go with this before any formal resolutions.
Comments? It is discussion time.
Well, I support the chief's and Mr. Venuti's suggestion. I think that is the solution.
Yeah, I did actually meet with our city manager today and discuss another area, the back wall right outside where we have our little private parking spots, which it turns out we actually own, but the wall doesn't have any signage. And recently one of my tenants parked there and was asked by one of, our officers why they parked there. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it's there, Apparently those spots too are city owned, and the entire city hall parking lot, including that back wall, is subject to your 2 hours or 1 hour, whatever it is by day. And, after 6, you can park there all night. But I did suggest, and I'm sure they have signs stacked up, maybe they don't, hopefully they do, that we can tack up to that wall and sort of clean up some of the parking issues with that. The other parking thing, again, if it's a city-owned spot, all right, it should be marked as such. And the parking lot behind Castle Street there, the big lot, those signs are confusing. We brought that up earlier this year, but, I had a constituent that got a ticket because they didn't see the sign that said it, and I went there and looked, and lo and behold, it's very confusing. So if we can just get a sign or two up, then people will see it and it won't be an issue. But that's where we're at. I've talked to basically the owner of Monaco's, and he's explained the situation. But again, are they private parking spots or are they city parking spots? If like with us 10 years ago, whatever, if we can prove we own that, then yes, they're ours. If you can't, then you're just looking for a spot that needs to be shared with everybody, and that's how it is. So again, Ms. City Manager, thanks for hipping me to that, for lack of a better way to put it. So hopefully this, with a little signage and a little understanding, it won't be a problem.
Counselor.
The current space, correct me if I'm wrong, the current space is public.
It's owned by the city.
Correct.
Yes. Yep.
So the solution is to turn it into a different form of public space because we think that's going to solve the problem. It sounds like the person or people, I think it's a person, is irrational and thinks they own something. Well, what's going to stop that same person from having another irrational concept and declaring one of the parking spaces in the parking lot theirs? And then we're just going to go right around. The dog's going to chase his tail. So I don't know. I'm just curious how this is a solution and not just a repackaged problem.
Oh, I think the what this would solve is it would offer more clarity to who actually owns that property, because it sounds like that is the common theme of at least what's starting the disgruntled conversations
Yeah.
is, well, this is my property, I own it. Well, technically the city owns some of those spaces right there. So I do think having it clearly established, lined, and signed, stating this is city parking, no ifs, ands, or buts, I think it would make it a little bit more clear for everybody. But I do understand where you're coming from, because we solve one problem. What's the next one going to be?
Yeah, 'cause
there is always that chance.
I'm under the impression the clarity we're past that point. Like there's hardly more clear than this isn't yours, like spoken, right? Like that's a tough one in my house. Sometimes my 10-year-old doesn't like that. Like this isn't yours, but I don't know how painting lines on it is going to change the very verbal, direct. This isn't yours. So I hope you're right, because otherwise it's an expense that we could probably avoid. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with the current parking situation. I've never heard the business owner saying they need a different parking situation. It just is this one acute problem. It's basically a harassment problem, not a parking problem.
City manager?
Yes, so this is something that I inherited when I first came on board, and was actually one of the first public comments that we came to when Director Venuti and staff had been working for several months, from what I understand, with the previous chief as well. And I think one of the challenges here is it's not clear, because there are markings on this public property saying different things than what it's actually used for. So some of the tenants in that area have different signage saying that this is their space or not, when it's not any of their spaces. There's one space that is an easement space. It's part of a driveway that it does own. Someone does own that. Mm-hmm. And then there's signage saying this is reserved for me or this is reserved for me. And what has happened, because we've allowed that to happen, they maintain them, there hasn't been a cost to the city, and so now you have another resident that's saying, well, if this guy can do it, why can't I? And it's turning into a confrontation. And so that was how it was presented to me, and we brought it forward to the council at that time, which has changed since. And this issue has come up again, as many things do. We go back around and on the circle, and so at this point, Chief Evelyn and Director Venuti went back out and kind of looked at it again to see if there was a different solution or another solution. And yes, this is a solution we've come up with before, but we didn't act on it. And I think that's where we're at, is as this has become an acute issue once again, is it time to try that solution and see if that'll work or not? But before we wanted to draft that legislation or even bring it forward, that's the purpose of this discussion.
Thank you. Is there a perk, like if we get an extra perk, is there going to be an extra space?
I
Nope.
don't think
Maybe
so.
some spaces for some e-bikes? No?
I don't think so.
It's opportunity.
You take that up with the DPW director.
When he returns.
Yeah, I support the suggestion also.
Thank you.
So I think that's something we should move forward with. Next is the supervisor update. And I don't see Supervisor Kennedy, who is really the only supervisor who comes to give us updates. And I congratulate him on another term. We do have a supervisor-elect in the audience that I hope to see at future city council meetings. So I will move on to consideration of meeting minutes. We have September 23rd, September 30th, October 1st, October 7th, October 14th, and October 21st. I need a motion. Councilor Peeler, seconded by Councilor Petropoulos. Clerk, please call the roll on the minutes.
Counselor Whitfield,
Aye.
Counselor Morocco,
Aye.
Counselor Petropoulos,
Aye.
Counselor Gilat,
Aye.
Counselor Grimaldi,
Aye.
Thanks, Chief.
Counselor Peeler,
Just for the record, it was Councilor Levin who gave the first.
Okay.
He made the motion.
okay, thank
Well,
you.
there was
I
like three at
lip synced
once.
it. It looked like me, but it was him. So aye.
Counselor Lavin,
Aye.
Counselor Brennan,
Aye.
Mayor Valentino.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next is public comment, and I have Tina Rossman from Ontario Cares.
We're a quick team, but we'll keep it to 3 minutes.
Great, thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor and members of Council and City Manager. My name is Gwen Van Laken, and I'm the Executive Director of the Partnership for Ontario County, currently rebranded as Ontario Cares. We're here tonight to share some exciting news about our organization's continued investment in the City of Geneva and to introduce 2 members of our youth programs to the team. Ontario Cares has served Ontario County widely for nearly 3 decades now, and I know some of our council members have been very involved, and we're thankful for that. We provide work through prevention, counseling, and youth development programs. We coordinate multiple countywide community coalitions focused on mental health, substance use prevention, and veteran support. And we operate several youth programs that help young people grow, lead, and thrive here in Ontario County. I'll turn it over to Tina Rossman, our Director of Youth Programs.
Thanks, Gwen. Good evening, everyone. Ontario Cares has operated Ontario County Youth Court for over 2 decades and Epic Zone Youth Clubhouse, which has served teens in Geneva since 2016. Epic Zone provides a safe and welcoming space for teens aged 12 to 18 to connect with caring adults, enjoy a healthy meal, explore their interests, and build life skills. After many years operating on Worthington Ave, we're thrilled to share that Ontario Cares recently purchased 81 North Street to serve as the future home of Epic Zone in Geneva and the new Flix Unity Center, a youth and community hub designed to foster creativity, connection, and wellness for local families. I'll turn things over to Alana Overstreet Gibson, our Epic Zone coordinator and founder of Flix Unity Vision, to extend a special invitation.
Thank you, Tina, and thank you, Mayor, council members, city managers, and guests. Before renovations begin, we'd love to welcome you all to an open house at 81 North Street on Giving Tuesday, December 2nd, 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. This will be a chance to walk through the space and see where the next chapters of teen program in Geneva begins. Join us in dreaming about ways that FLX Unity Center and Epic Zone will serve our communities, youth, and families ahead. We hope you'll all join us. Thank you all for your support for Ontario Cares and the youth, the young people we serve.
What time again on Giving Tuesday?
4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is our city manager report.
Okay, so as we talked about staffing, I am excited to be welcoming a new police officer on November 14th. We will be welcoming Mr. Edward Eli, who will join the department. He's a lateral transfer from Wayne County. We also have posted an external opportunity for a building maintenance worker, so that application is live right now if someone would like to join the city team. Under trainings, it has been a training-filled month. Our senior managers have been going through performance evaluations and how to have conversations with their employees. And I was fortunate enough, along with 2 other staff, to attend the International City-County Management Association Conference with over 5,000 other peers in local government. Staff attended sessions on civic engagement, priority-based budgeting, AI use in local government, inclusivity in economic development, employee retention and engagement, and so much more. And I know that the team that was able to go will be taking that all in and looking at ways to better assist the community. Speaking of things that staff have been up to, if you are at the lakefront, you will see a new installation of a new electric panel. And I point that out because that was actually completed in-house by various members of our team. Our electricians, seasonal staff, as well as others fabricated and built that entire panel box, saving the city approximately $35,000 doing all of that work in-house. We have a small but mighty team that does a lot of work throughout the city. Earlier today, I was able to celebrate with Cornell Agriculture and Food Technology Park members, or the Tech Farm, as they welcomed and opened Tech Farm 2. It's a project that doubled the park's current capacity. Inside are 2 new businesses, Liquid Orchard and Freeze Cake. Both are businesses that have moved to Geneva that already exist. So one is coming from California and one is coming from Florida to make this community their home and expand their operations. Tomorrow morning, I'll join the community partners for campus community engagement as part of a 3-part series where we talk about government and community relations in a community of practice. This is an online event. I am joined by the mayor of Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, as well as others to talk about how town-gown relations work and how they are important to our community. What are the benefits and the challenges? We also yesterday, the assistant city manager and I had a takeover of council chambers when we were joined by 25 Girl Scouts, all between kindergarten and 3rd grade. They sat in all of your chairs and used all of your live microphones and discussed a lot of really interesting things. It was great to have them here and we're able to discuss with them what government does, and hear from them all of their thoughts on what would happen if they were president or mayor or how the government works. On other ideas, the Madias property is moving forward with demolition. The demolition permits have been approved at this time. They will be demolishing all of the site except for the laundromat space, which the building owner will continue to secure to meet all of our code requirements. The idea behind that is they'll reuse that space. It is fall debris and leaf season. Collections are ongoing. I thank everyone for their patience because, as we know, it's a windy night tonight, which means there will probably be much more debris, and our crews will continue to circulate throughout the city to pick those up. And finally, the gazebo replacement is underway with the demolition of the gazebo. This is a partnership between Geneva Community Projects and the city, and the new structure will come into fruition next year. You will see an expanded gazebo. I use the term loosely as it'll be much more of a stage or amphitheater type of project. And so they'll be moving forward with that. And that's it for my updates.
Thank you. Moving on to unfinished business. Our first item is an ordinance, second reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 277 sanitary sewers and sump pumps by Superintendent Bremen.
Thank you. Yep, this is the second reading. The sump pump ordinance is new. This is basically intended to, similar to our sidewalk program, if a house goes up for sale, there's a sump pump inspection. The intent is to try and keep all this groundwater out of our sanitary system. Just adds an expense to the treatment. So this ordinance will require an inspection as part of the sale, as well as if at any other time for whatever any reason, if somebody's in a basement, if there's if there's knowledge that a sump pump is tied in, we could do an inspection. So the intent is not to punish anybody. It's simply to get all this groundwater out of our sanitary system, hopefully save some costs, and that's it.
Thank you. I need a motion. I have Councilor Gilat, seconded by Councilor Petropoulos. Discussion. Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Whitfield,
Aye.
Counselor Morocco,
Aye.
Counselor Petropoulos,
Aye.
Counselor Gilat,
Aye.
Counselor Grimaldi,
Aye.
Counselor Peeler,
Aye.
Counselor Lavin,
Aye.
Counselor Brennan,
Aye.
Mayor Valentino.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next is an ordinance, second reading, amending Chapter 350-7.10 fences, hedges, and walls by Superintendent Bremen.
All right, thank you. So this one simply is a change of the height of the fence. Currently, from the front of the house to the rear, we just want to take it from 4 feet to 6 feet. Currently, from the front of the house, you're only supposed to have 4 feet to the back of the house, 4 feet basically from the back of the house forward. So this is just going to allow 6 feet from the front of the house all the way in the entire rear yard.
Okay, I need a motion. Councilor Gilat, he wants to get out of here by 8:30.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Peeler.
I do have a question.
We're going to side bet on it. Yes, discussion. Councilor Peeler.
So does this cover all properties or is specifically just corner properties?
Nothing's gonna change as far as the corner. It's just simply your lot in the middle of the street.
Right, so if you're in the middle of the street, you can have a 6-foot fence right to the easement, or
You
right to
can
the
have
sidewalk.
No, a 6-foot fence from the front of the house back.
The front of, so not the front of the property, but the front of the structure of the house.
The front of the house back. So basically, enclosing your rear yard.
So it doesn't change the footprint of the fence, just the height.
Just the
That's
height.
what I was, okay.
Yep.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Whitfield,
Aye.
Counselor Morocco,
Aye.
Counselor Petropoulos,
Aye.
Counselor Gilat,
Aye.
Counselor Grimaldi,
Nay.
Counselor Peeler,
Nay.
Counselor Lavin,
Aye.
Counselor Brennan,
Aye.
Mayor Valentino.
Aye.
Motion carried.
City manager distracting me over here. Okay, next is a resolution for the sale of city-owned property at 595 South Exchange Street, presented by our city manager.
Yes, so this is the property that was discussed in the public hearing. This would be sold to Pivotal, who is our preferred developer, for the use of the housing project that they've proposed.
I need a motion. Councilor Petropoulos, seconded by Councilor Lavin. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Whitfield,
Aye.
Counselor Morocco,
Aye.
Counselor Petropoulos,
Aye.
Counselor Gilat,
Aye.
Counselor Grimaldi,
Aye.
Counselor Peeler,
Aye.
Counselor Lavin,
Aye.
Counselor Brennan,
Aye.
Mayor Valentino.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next is a resolution supporting the CDBG Economic Development Grant application to assist Liquid Orchard, presented by our Assistant City Manager.
Yes, this is just, again, a resolution to support the grant application for Liquid Orchard to CDBG. Again, this is essentially kind of like a pass-through grant through the city. We need this resolution in order for the grant application to move forward.
I need a motion. Councilor Gilat, seconded by Councilor Petropoulos. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Whitfield,
Aye.
Counselor Morocco,
Aye.
Counselor Petropoulos,
Aye.
Counselor Gilat,
Aye.
Counselor Grimaldi,
Aye.
Counselor Peeler,
Aye.
Counselor Lavin,
Aye.
Counselor Brennan,
Aye.
Mayor Valentino.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Moving on to new business. Next is a resolution, standard workday for elected officials, presented by our city clerk.
All right, so this is similar to the same thing we did for Counselor Petropoulos. It's just Counselor Peeler filled out his report of activity, and now it's on the resolution.
Okay, I need a motion. Councilor Petropoulos, seconded by Councilor Lavin. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll. Oh, discussion?
What is that again? I missed it.
It's for the retirement plan.
That's correct. It's
Yep.
for the pension. All elected officials have to submit a work record of activity for your council for a span of 90 days. And this document is basically that.
I see legal leaning in. Are you?
Yeah, just a reminder that Councilman Peeler should recuse from this vote.
Councilor
I
Peeler
have to
should
recuse myself from this
Yes.
vote. Even though there is no benefit to me, there is no interest involved. I don't get paid for this. And there's,
Yes, but it involves your
it does involve my
interest.
retirement, but I don't get, there's no benefit to this.
Okay, clerk, please call the
It doesn't
roll.
help my retirement. I'm
Counselor
already a
Whitfield?
full-time employee
Aye.
of the state.
Counselor Morocco,
Aye.
Counselor Petropoulos,
Aye.
Counselor Gilat,
Aye.
Counselor Grimaldi,
Aye.
Counselor Peeler.
Recuse.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Counselor
David.
Lavin,
Aye.
Counselor Brennan,
Aye.
Mayor Valentino.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I gotta slow things down here. Next is a resolution regarding our city manager's contract, presented by the mayor. The City Council of Geneva has reviewed the performance of our city manager in the previous contract. After evaluation and negotiation, the City Council, working with the city manager, human resource, and legal, have decided to offer a new 3-year contract with the current city manager, Amy Hendricks. The City Council has determined this is best for advancing the initiatives of the city and leading us forward. City Manager Hendricks has established a strong team that will lead us with the utmost integrity and professionalism, and I so move. I'd like a second. Councilor Petropoulos, discussion. I've received an email tonight from a gentleman that is very respected in our community, Mr. Ray Ciangolini, and his letter reads, Mayor Valentino, I highly recommend and support the contract extension for the Geneva City Manager, Amy Hendricks. In my experience, she has always been available, willing to listen, and act accordingly for the best interests of Geneva. Her recent support for the Geneva Police Department during this tenuous time was commendable and shows that she genuinely cares about the Geneva now and in the future. Thank you for your consideration and for the opportunity to express my support for Ms. Hendricks. Mr. Ray Ciangolini. Any further comment? Councilor Lavin.
I just wanted to say I was a big supporter of the manager's continuation. And I think we actually, in my opinion, owe her a promise of more and better direction going forward. I think she got, if there's a challenge that she faced that I thought was unfair, was how much she had to read the tea leaves of a council that wasn't being as direct and organized in giving her direction, yet she found a way through to pretty good endings. I hope that going forward we'll be able to keep her out of politics and keep her in the business of best practices in government, which is what we hire the professionals for in this city. And I look forward to proving we can keep a manager for a number of years here going forward. Congratulate her on her continued service.
You're here.
Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Whitfield,
Aye.
Counselor Morocco,
Aye.
Counselor Petropoulos,
Aye.
Counselor Gilat,
Aye.
Counselor Grimaldi,
Aye.
Counselor Peeler,
Aye.
Counselor Lavin,
Aye.
Counselor Brennan,
Aye.
Mayor Valentino.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Last piece of new business is a resolution adopting 3 administrative policies: FOIL, employee notification, personnel records, and the City of Geneva community calendar event posting policies presented by our city manager.
Okay, so one of the key pieces over the last 3 years has been to memorialize policies and procedures that we have been doing for many times. And these are 3 more administrative policies to add to our previously non-existent administrative policy manual. And as part of that process is a formal approval by council to put those procedures in place as policies.
I need a motion. Councilor Grimaldi, seconded by, don't be shy, Councilor Whitfield. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Whitfield,
Aye.
Counselor Morocco,
Aye.
Counselor Petropoulos,
Aye.
Counselor Gilat,
Aye.
Counselor Grimaldi,
Aye.
Counselor Peeler,
Aye.
Counselor Lavin,
Aye.
Counselor Brennan,
Aye.
Mayor Valentino.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion if I can.
For,
New business at a public hearing. Can I do that at this time?
we should have amended the agenda.
Well, this happened today, but it's okay if you don't, but
Is it time sensitive?
yes.
Can you tell us what it is before you make the motion?
Well, it's not even time sensitive, it's a technicality. The formal repeal, I did public hearing for the formal repeal of local law 1/2021, which is still worded in the charter, even though it's been deemed illegal. So I want to set a public hearing, so, you know.
I'm going to request some support from legal or staff if that's something we can do. Because typically we would amend the agenda at the beginning of the meeting.
Is your question about, is it legal to amend the agenda now at this time, or illegal to?
To put that on the
propose?
floor right now, to establish a public hearing.
Well, it's based on your rules of procedure, so you're as the mayor, you're the arbiter of that procedural issue.
And our rules of procedure that we would make a motion to amend the agenda at the beginning of the meeting. So I would recommend moving that forward for the December meeting.
Very well.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, before I pass the baton to Councilor Gilat next to me, I would like to make a motion, and I would like to make a motion to appoint Jan Regan, based on last night's election, to the District 2, Wards 3 and 4, Ontario County Supervisor position that was vacated by Louis Gard. And I would like to make that motion. I need a second. Seconded by Councilor Gilat. Any discussion?
Congratulations.
Right. Congratulations.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Whitfield,
Aye.
Counselor Morocco,
Aye.
Counselor Petropoulos,
Aye.
Counselor Gilat,
Aye.
Counselor Grimaldi,
Aye.
Counselor Peeler,
Aye.
Counselor Lavin,
All for the blue wave.
Counselor Brennan,
Was that an aye?
Yes.
Please.
Me too. Aye.
Mayor Valentino.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Congratulations. Next, appointments to boards and commissions. It's all yours, Councilor Gilat.
Thank you. We have three, actually. I might butcher the name a little bit, I'm not sure. Tamari
Cataldo.
Cataldo. It's a reappointment. Board of Assessment Review, and her term will expire on 9/30/2030. The second one is Mike Reeder, IDA, and his term will expire 9/30/2028. And third one is Alice Skinner, LDC, and her term would expire 11/4/2028. I so move for appointment.
We have a second. Councilor Petropoulos. Just for clarification, two of them are new appointments, the last two. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Whitfield,
Aye.
Counselor Morocco,
Aye.
Counselor Petropoulos,
Aye.
Counselor Gilat,
Aye.
Counselor Grimaldi,
Aye.
Counselor Peeler,
Aye.
Counselor Lavin,
Aye.
Counselor Brennan,
Aye.
Mayor Valentino.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next is mayor and council reports. I'll start at my right with Councilor Brennan and work our way around.
I only have one report, Mayor. The Shade Tree Committee, of course, has been very busy, as it always is. Tom Burrow contributed another 450 clams to the general fund today, and I can tell you they have made arrangements with either the colleges and or private homeowners for, I think, almost 45 trees. So you'll see stakes and markers all over the city, and that's what they're up to this fall. That's it.
Thank you. Councilor Lavin.
My only comment from this month is that I attended the IDA meeting as our representative and was disappointed to find out that it's underwater. It's losing money. It's got it's in the red. And in part, I think it's going to be a challenge for perhaps the new council to figure out the relationship between the city and the IDA. The IDA has extremely low rent for the use of the DPW space in a building that is increasingly becoming costly to the city to manage and maintain. Although it's owned by the IDA, the relationship between the city and the IDA on the use of the GEDC project is really needs to be confronted at some point, and I think that that's going to raise issues about the relationship between the IDA and the city, where we have the city manager as the executive director of the IDA, while she's also running a DPW for the city that gets a rent that is so far below market that the IDA is running in a deficit and not spending the money from pilots on economic development, but on city DPW support. Just tough, complex questions that need to be addressed, and I asked to be on the next IDA meeting agenda to speak about these ongoing issues that I see as a challenge for the city going forward.
Councilor Peeler.
The planning board did meet last month, and on the agenda was a subdivision to some property that we've already green light to be sold on Conover. Can you help me pronounce that? Conover Street. And that was pretty much the topic, and that went smoothly, and it was a gloriously uneventful planning board meeting. And that'll be all. Thank you.
Councilor Grimaldi.
I have no report this month.
Councilor Gilat.
Okay, first off, Police Budget Review Board. Next meeting is November 18th. The board wants to thank this council for the budget additions that will help with meeting some of the current needs of the Geneva Police Department. And the board looks forward to addressing many of the unaddressed areas moving forward. And as the Geneva BID be holding 2 ribbon cutting ceremonies in November. First one's a working class coffee, 9 a.m. this Friday, November 7th. And the other one is Sweet K's Cakery. Kai's
Yeah.
Cakery, Saturday, November 15th at noon. You're invited to join the bid and welcome these 2 new businesses. I think Sweet Kai's is what, Seneca Street?
Seneca Street, yeah.
And then I'm not sure
Working Class Coffee's on Exchange
Street.
Street.
It's the old,
The old Opus.
right. Okay. Shop Small Saturday is November 29th. Make a commitment to shop local and support your favorite independent businesses in downtown Geneva this year. There'll be pop-ups, free samples, and great deals. Plus, Morella will be holding her annual chili cook-off. Another event, hometown hero banners will be coming down after Veterans Day, and soon after the tables and chairs will be removed and stored for the season. The bid is checked and prepared the holiday lights and decoration for installation. Stay tuned. Long Pier and downtown Geneva will be looking very merry very soon. And finally, Jingle in Geneva will be happening the entire month of December, featuring a full calendar of holiday events, including the art walk, free workshops, and holiday programming designed to get you in the spirit of the season. That's all I have.
Councilor Petropoulos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the LDC meeting today, we covered quite a bit. Basically, Drumstock, the event that happened back in September, was deemed a success. Twice the attendance of the previous year. Same weather, but people came. So the LDC is going to continue to fundraising efforts for Graf/Drumstock. BID issued their quarterly report to the LDC. They will continue beautifying downtown and the lakefront, doing replantings and new signs, etc. As Councilor Gillette said, we have 2 upcoming ribbon cuttings, both of which happen to be in Ward 5. Working Class Coffee on Exchange Street, again, November 7th, Friday, 9 a.m. And Sweet Kai's Cake Works, I think. I forget it's Sweet Kai's. That's on Seneca Street, and that's going to be Saturday the 15th at 9 a.m. Do come down. And finally, BID is planning a Winterfest of sorts. Details to follow. Likely to happen February 2026. Finally, the Neighbors Together meeting will be sometime in December. The date will be determined, and we'll get back to you on that. What I did over the last month, I can't remember the half of it, which is probably good, but I went to the ribbon cutting for Neil Sjoblom's 50 years on Linden Street. That was a very interesting event. The picture you see in the paper when I get it, he took that. So he takes really good pictures. All right. Upcoming, I talked about those. I had the honor, had my arm twisted, and had the honor to attend Senator Helming's honoring veterans ceremony in Canandaigua. She asked me, pulled me aside and said, hey, nominate someone. I nominated our very own A.J. Fratto, who currently runs the Winnick Post of the American Legion. And it was just a great event. Let's see. I attended the OEO info presentation in Trey. It was a great presentation. I think a lot of us were here. So more to follow on that as it goes. On the subject of a panhandler here in town, I saw all kinds of stuff, on Facebook. I'm like, you know what? Let me try this. I called the outreach fellow from FLACRA and told him about this. And I guess I wish the chief were still here. Basically, he wants to just clear it with the chief to park at burned area and try doing outreach. It's like what you got to lose, Latrec, It's better than a guy just getting hurt. We'll see how that works out. Let's see. I give a shout out to the residents of Colt Street for a very spooky Halloween decoration. I don't know if any of you guys got a chance to see it. We were honored to be at the fire department inspection, capping off Fire Prevention Week. And finally, a shout out to Ontario Cares. I've been following the Unity Center since it was conceived. I didn't want to jinx it, but it looks like they're closing, and I will be at the open house. I encourage all of you to be. Again, December 7th, 2nd, 4 to 6:30 p.m. and it's on North Street at the old Clark Optical. That's all I got.
Councilor Morocco, you're a trooper. I don't know if you have any updates you want to talk about or if you're good.
Hang in there,
No,
Tommy.
I don't have any updates. I just want to say, thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to zoom in and be a part of the meeting, and for all of council putting up with me through my rehab and stuff, and hopefully, this will help me out a lot. So I just want to thank you for allowing me to hear.
You're welcome, sir, and it just says a lot about your determination to be a part of this organization. Councilor Whitfield.
I have a statement that I want to make first. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who voted for me and supported me through this election. Your trust, encouragement, and belief in our vision mean the world to me. This victory is not just mine, it belongs to all of us who share the same hopes for a better future. Thank you for standing with me, for your confidence, and for your unwavering support. Together, we'll continue to work hard and make a positive difference. Also, a special, very special shout out to the Democratic Committee. I mean, I was so overwhelmed with all the things that we were doing, but I really appreciate you all. Also the Hobart and William Smith students who did a lot of the work as well. I want to commend them and thank them for their special help. Ben Gummel, I appreciate you listening to me, and we'll be seeing you soon. And Jan, welcome. We'll see you soon as well. The only report I have is Mount Calvary Church of God in Christ, 21 Milton Street, is going to be having a Thanksgiving dinner for those in need or anyone in the community on Friday, the 21st of November. I believe we'll be starting at 5:30, if I'm not mistaken. Long as you see the light on, we'll be, we'll be serving everyone in the community. Whoever stops by, just want a good meal or whatever. If you're in need, we'll continue to pray for you all. That's that.
Thank you. I had the pleasure of meeting with the ethics board members. There's 4 fantastic members. I met with them individually just to talk about how things are going, policies, procedures, and any needs they might have. There was an immediate need that I've reached out to staff to try to correct, and it's the way the residents in the community can reach them and how they can respond as quickly as possible. So I thought that was beneficial. I can't say enough. That board is committed. In order to stay neutral and unbiased, they really have a strong focus on how they're achieving that on a regular basis, and they actually have an opening. I believe they have 2 interviews coming up. So I look forward to that board being full and completed and continuing on with their mission. I'd also like to congratulate the Hobart men's hockey team. They had 3 national championships underneath their belt, and last Saturday they won 6-0. So they're off to a great start, and we're looking forward to a great season for them also. Lastly, I want to thank our city clerk over there who is diligently working away. She is understaffed, but she's doing a fantastic job, and she does it on a daily basis. So thank you very much, Nicole, for all you do. And that's all I have. 8:28. A motion to adjourn. Councilor Petropoulos, seconded by Councilor Grimaldi. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Everyone have a happy Thanksgiving.